Jesus in the village of Aburi. The sun was rising gently over the Aburi Valley, painting the African sky with gold and orange. Birds chirped happily from the tall mango tree that stood proudly in the center of the village. The tree was famous. People said it was older than the oldest grandmother in the village. Children were already gathering under the tree, laughing, chasing each other, and collecting ripe mangoes that had fallen during the night. Among them was Seba, a quiet, shy boy who watched the others play from a distance. But on this beautiful morning, something special was about to happen. Before anyone saw anything, a soft breeze began to blow, warm and calm, even though the air had been still. Then a peaceful voice flowed into the village like music. It was the voice of Jesus. My dear children, I know your names. I know your dreams. I know your hearts. I have come today to walk among you and teach you the power of kindness. The children stopped playing. The goats stopped chewing. Even the wind seemed to pause and listen. Jesus continued, kindness makes the world bright. Kindness turns strangers into friends. Kindness heals sadness. Kindness makes your heart shine like the sun. As he spoke, a golden light began to glow under the mango tree. Then, suddenly and beautifully, Jesus stepped out of the light. He wore a long white robe, his smile warm like the morning sun. The children gasped in surprise, but quickly their faces filled with joy. Jesus! The children shouted as they ran closer to hug him. Everyone, except Seba, who still stood quietly at the back. Jesus looked at all of them and said, Come, my children, I have come to walk with you today. The children eagerly followed him through the village. They laughed and talked and asked questions. Jesus listened to them all with love in his eyes. As they walked, they saw an old woman bending under a heavy bundle of firewood. Sweat dripped down her face. Her steps were slow and shaky. Some of the children whispered, Let's keep going. We want to show Jesus the river. They were excited and didn't want to stop. But Jesus stopped. He turned, looked at Seba, and smiled gently. Seba, he said softly, would you help her carry the wood? Seba blinked in surprise. Nobody ever asked him first. Nobody ever called on him like he mattered. Slowly, Seba stepped forward. He held onto part of the firewood and lifted it with the strength he had. The old woman looked at him with grateful eyes. Thank you, my child, she said. Jesus placed his hand on Seba's shoulder. Kindness, Jesus said, is a light that warms the world. Even a small act of kindness can make a big difference. As they continued walking, something beautiful happened. People started smiling at Seba. Children invited him to walk closer to Jesus. A little girl even handed him a mango. It was as if his act of kindness made the whole village brighter. When they reached the mango tree again, Jesus turned to the children. Remember this, he said, be kind and loving to each other, just as my Father is kind to you. The golden light began to surround him again. Jesus raised his hand in blessing, and just like the sunrise fades into day, Jesus gently disappeared, leaving the children filled with joy. Seba touched his heart. It felt brighter than the sun, because he had learned how powerful kindness can be.